Perspective is everything. I want to remind everyone of that today, how we see things. Brother Leo, do you mind to share, number one, how you're feeling and a little inspiration of a recent discipline that you're trying with the group? Inspire everybody to do the hard things.
Absolutely. Well, I'm feeling a little low energy today, but as I tell all of our students, like one of the greatest things you could do is to figure out a place in your community to lead because you'll learn how to be able to pick yourself up and your energy up in the times where you really don't have that energy. So I'm doing a 3-day fast right now where I'm not eating for 72 hours and I'm a day and a half in, and this is my time that I usually stuff my face with all sorts of great food and the yumminess and all the good stuff. And I'm just, getting over my habit of just like eating to eat and eating to enjoy the food, which of course is a yummy thing. It's a fun thing to do, but we don't actually get the nutrients that we need to. And we chase the unhealthy, salty, sweet foods rather than the actual good foods for us. So I'm doing this 72-hour fast because our bodies go into a state of ketosis and it starts to remove all the negative stuff and the cancer creating stuff in our bodies, and it starts to eat away at that and creates energy. So I get to have my beautiful dinner at 7 p.m. But I'll tell you, in between this time, I'm so grateful for food. I'm so grateful for just things in general, having a roof over my head, a great business, great people around. So I'm doing this just to train my discipline for the health benefits also, but also it's giving me a lot of great perspective. So not that I recommend it to everybody, but doing the hard things will make you feel incredible on a day-to-day basis.
And I think it's important to notice, two really key things when you're doing, coming off a 3-day fast like that. Number one is when you have a pattern or a plan to come off of that fast, because if you just go eat a bunch of steaks and bread and things, yeah, that's a very negative idea. So you have to come off with a plan. And then number two, food tastes even better. And so I want to just remind all of you that sometimes coming off of the hard things, it is the opportunity for the best thing to happen, but we have to have a plan. So we're spending 60 days together because you could do the hard thing, but then not have a plan and screw it all up. You can go do something, you can go make calls, but not have a plan to get the help you need, to not have a plan to get the contract signed and not have a plan to turn around and sell it. And while I like that you just get on the phone and do calls, and I want you all to do that, it's so important that you're surrounded by who you're surrounded by right now so that that plan can be implemented as it happens, right? I don't know that Leo had a plan on day one of how he was coming off the fast, but I'm sure he does now, or he's putting it together in the next 24 hours. And so very important to make sure you do that. Now, when it comes to your real estate investing business, well, let's do this. How many are new here? And we have several new ones come in. If you have been here less than 5 days, if you first come on here less than 5 days ago, type new. If you've been on here more than 5 days, type OG in the chat. We want all the new ones to say new, and we want all the people who've been here more than 5 days to type OG. I know we got majority OGs, but I want to see if we still got some new ones coming in, and welcome anyone who's new. Welcome, welcome. All right,
Someone
good.
said old goat. OG
Oh,
means original. You can call it whatever you
original.
want to call it.
That's funny. Well, we got several new ones in. So welcome. Welcome to all of you. And I want to take this exactly 2/3 of the way through this. And number one, let those of you who are new know you haven't missed, you don't feel like you're behind. We've started a journey of how to find leads. We've went to how to dial them, how to get on the phones with them. And we're going to be recapping this in our remaining 20 days. And we have been talking about finding joint ventures and partnerships, talking about how to partner up with Leo and myself, as a few of you have done. And we're going to be in these next 20 days talking more about exit strategies. We're going to interview a title attorney. We're going to be interviewing Derek. We're going to be interviewing one of our acquisitionists. We're going to be interviewing Ahmed, our lead acquisitions manager. We're going to be interviewing Glenn, who runs a business in North Carolina. We're going to be interviewing Judy, who runs her business in Kentucky, not far from us. So I want to really lay out for you today what's about to happen and how to implement rapidly. The difference between someone who succeeds well and someone who remains in the struggle. You've some of you've been to the meetup or the event, and you see that person who a year ago they was at the event, 2 years ago they was at the event, and they seem to stay on a plateau. Those are the people who listen, but they don't take action. Those of you who show up and you see the person who has one deal, has one fall through, before long has 3 deals, before long has 12 deals. Those are the people who hear it and immediately go implement. So, distance between hearing and implementation is the difference between massive success or plateauing out. So, a couple special things for you today. Number one, once we are finding deals, Facebook Marketplace, Facebook groups, bandit signs, business cards, paid ads, all of these different places, it's vital that we take these deals and turn them to cash. We know our exit strategies, right? So, what is our plan? We find deals that we can either buy with payments over time or we can buy with cash way below value, and we figure out a way to, in turn, solve a buyer's problem. Lease option is by far my favorite exit strategy. I've been talking a lot about that. Get a non-refundable option deposit as large as you can, monthly rental income, and a payday when they cash you out. Now, there's a few more things I'm going to be sharing with you today on how to best go about these strategies. But I think the bigger question is, because I don't want to just share with you hundreds of detailed pieces for you to try to piece together. I want to share with you the frame that you can begin to implement to put deals together consistently. So, this frame, for those of you who are experienced, who've done tons of deals, is a system or a frame that you can plug into, that you can use to build your business and begin to automate it, right? So, we always ask ourselves, number one, things that we do to find sellers or buyers is going to either cost us, number one, time, or number two, money, one or the other. So if you're low on money, but you got time, you may dial a bunch of sellers who are free. If you're good on the phones and you've got money, then you may dial a few high quality leads that you pay for and invest in. So we're either trading time or we're trading money for a return on that investment. So before I delve in a little bit deeper today, Leo, share with us a little bit of the framework back when you started wholesaling when you were 17, of how you started putting these deals together.
Honestly, I just did what I've always done, which is try everything, make a lot of mistakes, and then go to a mentor or go to someone who's done it before and say, okay, I did all this. What did I do wrong? And they take everything I did and they say, take that away and stop it. Take that away, stop it. Take that away, stop it. But also increase doing this. You're doing the calls really well. And Leo, it seems like you have a natural ability to do calls. So keep doing that and get really good at that. Find in the business what you're great at, partner in with people who take over the things that you're not good at. So that's what I learned really early, how to delegate. And I was lucky to have Andrew as a mentor of mine, where he saw that I was really good on the phones. So he said, hey, go out and find an admin. Go out and find these people who are able to take care of these other parts that you're not so good at. I was terrible at transaction coordination. I'm still pretty terrible at it, but I'm incredible at my calls and I'm incredible at sales and marketing. So that's what that's what I had focused on. It was a gift of mine. For all of you guys, focus on what you are incredible at and the portion of the business that you can get so good at that you can be basically irreplaceable and get really, really, really good at that and hire everything else back. Dan Martell's book, Buy Back Your Time, is so important. We don't hire people to grow the business. We hire people to buy back our time so we can still do the income producing activity for the business to grow it. And then you can replace yourself in the areas that are needed. But that you can learn that really. I learned that at 17, because I had Andrew as a coach. But you guys can learn that, right now in the business and start producing. A lot of you guys have had businesses in the past and you guys have seen that success there. Same thing with the real estate. Create time to understand what you need to delegate and also understand what you can be really good at in the business.
Let's break down a little bit about what this business is, because all it really takes is a baseline of knowledge and the right help, the right team around you, mentor, the right title company, few minor items. So, what do you need to build this business? Number one, write it down. You need constant lead flow. Some of you who have done many deals can testify to the fact that you have an up, you close some deals, and then before long you have a down and you go a month without deals and you go, oh crap, what happened? Always comes back to constant lead flow. Number two, this comes for, and this is the same, whether you're buying the house or selling the house, you either got to have to buy the house, constant sellers, or selling the house, got to have constant buyers. So every time you're having a lull and either you're buying or selling, you come back, it always comes back to lead flow. How do I get more sellers to call me with their houses for sale? How do I get more buyers to see I have a house lease option that they call me wanting to buy the thing? That changes everything. Number one, lead flow. Number two, a pre-screening system, and write this down as quick as possible, detached from your time. What I mean by that, in the beginning, you're dialing sellers. In the beginning, you're calling back every single buyer who says they want to lease option your house. As soon as humanly possible, we want to take that pre-screening process and simplify it. So I'll give you two sources we use. One is called Pat Live. It's a phone answering service. And the other one is a automation software that Ahmed has developed. Leo and I spent many thousands of dollars on this. And we use it internally. And when someone's ready, we have a handful of people we will work with and set up them one as well. But Arnie, he texts the buyers for us. He texts the sellers for us. He pre-screens the deals. He negotiates the preliminary terms. And once he says they're qualified to talk to us, then Arnie will text, in this case, Ahmed and Derek, and say, hey, got to call Bill at 5 p.m. to buy his house. Got to call Bill at 5 p.m. to sell him a house. All right. So remove your time from this consistent lead flow and pre-screening process as soon as possible. So number one, lead flow. Number two, consistent pre-screening process. Number three, simple way to get the contract. That's when you're buying, when you're selling, simple way to get the money. Now, in these 60 days, we're not going to get too deep into entity structures. We're not going to get too deep for the sake of time into accounting and all of that back end stuff. We're, though, going to share with you this overview. And this is why over these next 20 days together, we're going to be rolling back the curtain on our team, on Glenn's business, on Judy's business, on our title attorney, one of our team members. That's why we're going to be rolling back this curtain so much, because we really want you to see the simplicity of this business when you have the right help, right? So lead flow. How do we determine what to do? For me, anytime I'm short on leads, I sit down and I write down every lead source, like every lead option I can think of. So for those of you who are in the training, you have access to the training systems that have, I don't know, 20 something different lead sources that we use. All right. So when it comes to these lead sources for our Boss Slow and Freedom Live members, you're going to see it's write down, and as you start to write out all these options, you have to pick at least three. You want three consistent lead sources. Pre-screening. Once you've picked a way of pre-screening, Pat Live taking your calls, Arnie setting up your appointments, if you're already doing a substantial amount of deals, then you set that part up. And now we develop our system for, on the front end, when we buy the house, it's DocuSign sending out the contracts. And on the back end, when we're selling the house on lease option, it is where they can bring us the money to if you're doing this virtually. So whether it's a local attorney, boots on the ground, or partner who's local, or if you're doing it in your own yard, it can be you. Doesn't matter. Once those three things are set up and established, Now, obviously, to do 3 deals a month, 5 deals a month, it starts to take some infrastructure, the real business that you're running at that point. But to do three, four, 5 deals a year, you have those three things established. All it takes is the right help to really get these things negotiated well, and you can freaking kill this game. All right. So don't overcomplicate this business because it really is simple. Asking questions to get to a great deal, locking up that deal effectively and quickly, finding a buyer for that deal as soon as possible. As soon as those three pieces are met, this business is just continuing to repeat those until you get the size of checks that you desire. All right. We are problem solvers. Go ahead, Leo.
There's certain points in this business that we've learned over the years, Andrew, that have given us the advantage, and it takes the Pareto's principle. Type in the chat, yes, if you know what the Pareto's principle is. I just want to understand who has it down, because if not, this is going to be a big development piece for you guys. So the Pareto's principle is this idea of the 80-20 rule. It's that 20% of your actions create 80% of the results. So in this business, over these 60 days, of course, we go over everything. We go over every piece of the business, every piece that you guys would possibly need. If you got stuck in a trap, 2 years down the road with 4 different properties, what do you do? And also for the people who are in the very beginning of, okay, I just need to get to know how to do the script, get to know how to say the right things, ask the right questions. However, in this business, the most successful ones are the ones who understand the 80-20 rule and who implement it today, tomorrow, and the next day, and every single year past that. Okay, so I say this for a big reason, 80-20 rule. A piece of the 80-20 is having a script. If you have a script, this idea of asking the right questions and all the questions that you had wrote down and all the different pieces that you had written down of things to say in different tonalities, if you have a good script, it allows you to stop thinking about all those things, having to pull up 9 different pieces of paper, and instead you just have your sheet, or if you use our script, if you use our script, you just use that and you practice it. You practice that every single day, because that is the 80-20 of the business, is getting good on the phones, getting good at your tonality, asking the right questions, and then just dialing the dang people. You do that every single day. When you get good at that, you constantly have offers getting put out, offers getting accepted, contracts getting put out, and now you have deal flow. We need to get to a place, all of us, where we have deal flow. I know some of you are new, some of you are experienced. Why do we teach in the way we do? Is because we have people in here, Glenn, who just did 20 deals this month, and then we have some people who have done 4 or 5 deals this month, and then we have people who have not done their first deal. So that's why we.
Just to clarify, Leo, if I can interrupt you, Glenn has 22 deals on the board
Oh,
currently.
I apologize, Glenn. Glenn's got 22. But you get what I'm saying. Glenn will appreciate the fact that we're still going over these fundamentals, because now he's training his team to go over these fundamentals. He's gone over the pack. He still takes the calls, but he's evolved in the business to now where he's replacing himself in the acquisitions and replacing himself in these areas where now he can play a high level role to then be the man that's getting 22 deals every month in the door with these different partnerships. So I hope that you're starting to see the evolution here, is that it started with him becoming very good on the phones, and then he's replaced himself over time until he's gotten really good, where he's brought in so many deals in. So I want to make sure that we give you guys the script so you have it. And that's going to be such a great practice point, because we're going to do some role plays here. We're going to bring some of you guys up. So you get a teaser of what we do every single week with our students, is that we have them out loud role play with each other. And then when they do get a deal, when they do get a seller to say yes to terms, that's when we hop on. We say, okay, let's close this thing up so you can see how it's done. Okay. So, team, if you can put the script, I know it's on Circle, but if we can put it in the chat so they can have access to that, that's going to be an 80-20 for you guys. As you know, we give so much out there for you guys to take action on, but it's really going to come down to you actually practicing it, actually making those phone calls to these people. Andrew, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, that is so important, Leo. And I love how you always bring it back to just where we are, because we always want to make sure that this is not just pure theory. because it's easy to share something that's worked for us to get us a ton of deals, and that's awesome. Except the objective is, if you're brand new to this, that you don't just hear about deals that we're doing or Glenn's doing or somebody else on here is doing, but you get on the phones and actually make progress in your very own business, right? And so while the seeing others doing it creates that proof, that validation in our minds to encourage us to want to do it for ourselves, the objective is to make sure it's very clear what you need to do to get your own checks. So as we're moving that ball forward with you and for you, our mission is to ensure that you're getting closer to your freedom number every single month. And I want to shift this for you, something I wish that I would have known when I was 21. That is, it's not necessarily that I'm just trying to get good on the phone with a script. Yes, you're studying the script, but this is building the person that helps me to become incredible at sales. This is helping me become the person who has a high income skill that can go put a deal together and create a 10, 20, $30,000 check at will. And so it's more about the becoming than it is the doing, but it's only in the doing that you become. If this is making sense or resonating, type yes in the chat. Give me a yes. Make sure that I'm making sense for everybody. All right, we got the yeses coming in. This is good. Keep them coming. Somebody types in the chat, I don't get it. No, I'm kidding. Everybody says yes. All right, good. So when it comes to putting these deals together, we have to make sure that we understand where we start and then where we're coming to completion on the deal. Once we understand this frame, once we understand that it is a series of questions that we ask to get to a conclusion, the pressure comes off of us. We're now the leader of the phone call. On every call with a seller, I don't want you to be thinking like, oh crap, how do I put this deal together? I have to buy this house. I want you to be thinking, how do I ask the right questions to lead this call to the conclusion? And if it's fit, come to terms, right? It's really that simple. And so it just, every time the seller says something, you are not immediately trying to go in and say, I want to buy your house for 80 grand. I want to buy your house for 400 grand. You're immediately coming back with a question that leads them to tell you what you want. That's what the script does. That's the heart of the script. And so as you're reviewing the script and using this script, I want you to not only be great at repeating the script, that in the beginning will be what it is, but I want you to understand the heart of the script and the questions it's asking, because then when you get a question, inevitably, that's not on your script down the road, you're not as lost as a goose in a snowstorm, right? Which that's why you got us for our Boss Flow and Freedom Life people. But now you know immediately, oh, I need to get them to this conclusion. So I need to ask this question, right? Now you know where you're headed. So you can fill in the blanks. What else should I be covering here, Leo, before we wrap up with questions and hop over to our VIP live calls?
Yeah, I speak to all of us knowing that, 2 years from now, as you take action, and 2 years is not far away, but it also is pretty close, knowing that you guys are going to be in such a great place financially, such a great place in your mindsets and your bodies, and I think there's a change in the way that people, especially in America, are seeing things, the lies that we were told through the education system, all these different pieces that were, we could call a lie that our health, taking care of our health, taking care of our money, taking care of all these things, we weren't taught in a proper format that allows us to thrive in our lives, right? And each of us have different goals and different places that we want to be over the next couple of years. But it all comes down to this one idea where it's a skill set of getting really good at the income producing activities. And that for a lot of you in this case is getting really good at acquisitions, getting really good at your sales calls, getting really good at communication. Because write this down, the key to wealth is through communication. Everything you want is by talking about what you want and having those conversations with different people. It's the art of conversation. This is going to make you incredibly influential. This is going to make you incredibly wealthy as you learn to negotiate, as you learn to sell, as you learn to be charismatic, magnetic in the conversations that you have, be able to speak to people, be able to speak to 100 people, lead them in a certain direction. This is the key to wealth that we have seen. And although we don't teach it straight on, we teach real estate and we teach the Boston method. Really, it's the communication within that company that you learn to be an expert and you learn to be a problem solver and you learn to be an entrepreneur that's able to build such a great team, build such a great infrastructure, and go into any business and disrupt it. Go into any business rather and win. And that's what we're here to learn, is to take our own strengths, choose the business. In this case, it is the Bofslow method. It is buying houses on owner finance, selling them on lease option, being able to make 40, 50, 60, $70,000 a month if we want to, if we continue the process, and then go to any other business that we want to go into, whether it's continuing real estate, buying affordable housing and crushing it in that space, whether it's senior living, whether you want to go and build a green tea company, right? Some of you want to go build some consumer brands. Absolutely. But it starts with actually getting good on the phones and getting good at this process that we're teaching and always coming back to. So don't forget that. I want today you guys practice it and you ask yourself, what is it that I'm getting good at every single day? What is it that I'm going to be remembered for in this industry? Because that's what's going to set you apart and going to make you so incredibly successful. And all these other 100 people on here, the ones that are going to win, that are going to be different, will not let this call that we just went over and the ideas here fall flat. They're going to take it, they're going to use it every single day.
That's so powerful, brother, because this business, and I say this being a real estate guy. So here again, the heart of what I'm saying, this business becomes very monotonous and boring if you're not learning how to use it to propel your vision. You say now, how in the world does getting 50 or $70,000 checks get boring? Well, it becomes repetitive if you've done one deal, 10 deals, 50 deals, 100 deals. And I want you to realize that, as Leo just shared, 2 years from now, when you've put in the work and you've done the thing, it's the person you become to build your dream. And that's why we focus so much on that. Because after the first several deals, you're going to realize like it becomes second nature to you. It becomes, while you're always learning, we're all learning and growing. That's where the fun comes in, is the people that we're working with, the community we've built around us, the cool stuff we get to build, and who's working alongside of us makes all the difference. And I remember, and the reason I'm passionate about this, in 2019, 2020, it had become so repetitive for me, having done many hundreds of deals, that although I was doing it because I needed to keep the business running, it had become monotonous. And when Leo and I teamed up and started to do these things that continue to build amazing community around us, and we get to celebrate a win, or we get to do these fun things that transform other people's lives, and we give back in a way that is a way I only before could have dreamed of, that reignited my excitement. And of course, when there's momentum, when there's excitement, when you're looking forward to winning and you're putting in that effort, then everything can continue to grow to the level you desire it to be, so we can live our purpose fully. So I want to take any questions before we wrap up today. And day 40, my goodness, how time is flying. And it's so interesting. I was laying out the last 20 days. And as I was laying out the agenda, revisiting the agenda for these last 20 days to make sure that we're in alignment with what you guys are needing, I realize we've got a whole lot more than 20 days of info left. So please keep your questions and feedback coming, so we can make sure that in these next 20 days, we continue to give you what you most need and what you most want to propel your business. All right. So give specific instructions on getting your leads called by us. Before I do that, what questions do we have today, Michelle or Paul, if any?
I'm missing Paul on here today. He was working on some back end stuff, but he's getting it all done. So I just wanted to read you a comment Early on, you was asking for OGs and new, and Yolanda said she's an OG and she has received her mug.
Way to go, Yolanda. Got your coffee mug. Those gifts are still trickling in.
And then we have the
Awesome.
question on the follow-up Zoom. So you'll be receiving a text and I believe an email with the new link.
Awesome. So we are going to wrap up today with 19 days left. And I see we got one more question just popped in. Michelle, please be ready to read that. We have 19 days left. So every Wednesday and Friday, so when you hear us refer to our VIPs, if you're a Bosflow Accelerator member, if you are a Freedom Life member, or if you are a ticket holder to the upcoming live 3-day event, and any of those three categories, you're a VIP. So you are invited to come hang out with us on Wednesday and Friday, each of the remaining 3 weeks between now and the live event. And we're calling your leads for you, answering your questions on the leads and going over deal structures. And so keep the leads coming. And we'll be reviewing that a lot more. So if you are VIP, make sure you are on the other link here in about 5 minutes. And we're going to go over there and call your leads. And what's our last question, Michelle?
We actually have a couple of more. Jerry says, I have a seller that will not return the binder deposit on a property that we pulled out of during the due diligence period. How can I put a lien on the property in Texas?
So there's 3 lessons there, each in about 10 seconds. Number one, anytime you're given more than $10 earnest money, always give it to a title company, not the seller. Number two, the hope of rarely getting ever getting money back from a seller is slim to none. So just know that when you set the earnest money amount, which is why we always do 10 or 100, depending on the deal. And thirdly, you can talk to an attorney about leaning the property, putting a sort of lien on the property for the earnest money. My guess is, unless it's over $1,000, if you're talking 5 or 10,000, it's worth going after. If it's 1,000 or less, probably just $1,000 seminar. And we look forward to having you in our community because we want to help you avoid as many of those uh, real life seminars as possible.
And we have a question from Matt. He asked if you guys take over any additional liens, sub 2, do you try and negotiate those down during the escrow?
Absolutely. So be very familiar with what the liens are. I could do a 3-day seminar on liens alone. I love liens. There's a whole business inside the business. The cool thing about liens, though, is if you are familiar with what types they are, some of them fall off after a period of time. You know that's getting close, and that's great to know. Some of them are negotiable, massively negotiable, and you can save a lot of money. And then others, you're just going to take over and pay them like you would something else. So, yes is the answer, but it depends on 100 different factors of what types of liens they are. Awesome. If that's it, we're going to wrap this up. We're going to hop over to our VIP call. Leo, what's the last piece of inspiration and excitement for tomorrow you want to share?
Absolutely. Take a minute today and think about over the next 2 years. Think in 2 years exactly where exactly you want your life to be. And I say this one a lot because it works and we do it every single day. Think about what he or she is doing, how he or she is sitting, how they are texting their people and their family, and just embody that today because you don't have to wait so long to be that person. That person is just the same body and the same soul that thinks a little bit differently than you do, has a little bit more positive thoughts right now, saves a little bit differently, talks a little bit differently, has a different set of skills because they learned those skills. So, when you think about the person 2 years from now as a great figure and someone who's incredible in every way, you can start to model that immediately. Create your own models and let that model be you. Let that inspiration be you.
That's powerful. And I got to share this because I just got a text I see popping up on my phone. We have follow up is the key. And Leo was talking about rapid learning. I just got a text from a seller we've been working with, and it looks like we're ready to go under contract at 25% of value today. So let's go. Now,
Let's keep it going.
To be that rapid learner, it absolutely takes implementing rapidly. So go implement what you've learned. We'll see you tomorrow. Same place, same time. Our VIPs, we'll see you on the VIP link in 2 or 3 minutes.
Bye, guys.
Bye for now.